perfect at everything. Perfectionism is like a prison, and everything else that we want to do in life is outside of that prison. This is it. I wanted to do the whole shebang, the lighting, the makeup, the setup, the hair, everything, and then record my podcast like that, but it's not happening. That just sounds too perfect to me, and it would not go well with what we are here to talk about today. So here it is, my podcast, not perfect, just growing. I want to share my story of how I came to this podcast and why I wanted to start this podcast, and also why the name, not perfect. Let's start with the fact that a couple years ago, if you would have told me, Lydia, you're a perfectionist, it's not serving you, I would be like, no, I'm just trying to do everything with excellence, right? That's what I would always say. I'm just trying to do everything with excellence. I like everything to be perfect. And that's just my standard and how I like things to be. And I almost wore my perfectionism as a badge of honor, thinking that it's getting me ahead in life. It is helping me. It is good to be a perfectionist. Until, wait, one sunny day in 2024, God told me to start a podcast. I was like, what? A podcast? I don't have a desire to start a podcast. I already had a podcast before, and I did not enjoy it. Granted, it was a random podcast, but I always talk to God, and I'm like, okay, God, if you want me to start a podcast, you need to tell me the name of it, because I'm not coming up with another name. I started multiple businesses in the past 10 years, and I already came up with a bunch of names, and I'm not doing it. If you want me to start a podcast, give me a name. and lo and behold, a couple weeks later, the name pops into my head while I'm journaling. Pops in. That's how I know it's from God. It just pops in. I never thought about it. Not perfect, just growing. And Lydia, talk about beating perfectionism. I was like, me? You want me to talk about not being perfect? Hold on. Wait a minute. As you can tell, God put this idea on my heart in 2024, and it's 2026. So, yeah, I had a journey to go on to unlearn so much perfectionism. And honestly, it's been the most freeing journey of my life. I can't believe I used to wear perfectionism as a badge of honor. And yet, it was a prison that I built for myself that kept me imprisoned in a box that was suffocating me. That was unattainable to live in, and yet I kept choosing to be in it. The moment I realized is when I started heavily reading the Bible. Chapter after chapter, it emphasizes how perfect God is and how imperfect we as human are. And that's when I took on the character of being imperfect, and I started feeling freedom for the first time. Wow, I don't have to be perfect. I was never meant to be perfect. It's impossible for me to be perfect because I'm not God. God is perfect. I am imperfect. I am flawed. And I am not supposed to be perfect. That perspective completely shifted the way I see myself and my life. Because from that moment on, I understood that I've been living a false way of life ever since I knew of myself. I mean, yeah, pretty much when I was 6 and I started being aware of who I am, as a person, I remember being a perfectionist. I honestly am not sure where it came from. I come from this small country called Serbia, and growing up, right around when I was 5, 6, there was a war happening. I vividly remember the war, and I vividly remember us being in our apartment, blinds shut, no electricity, just candlelight, and focusing on eating the food from the fridge so it doesn't go bad. And this went on for a couple months before the war was over. Just the aftermath of the war was so devastating on the economics of the country. It impacted everyone, but especially my family, since we didn't really have savings and everything stopped for a couple months. And right after that, a lot of companies went bankrupt. They didn't have enough resources to pay employees, so a lot of people were let off. It was very hard. It was a lot of struggle. And I remember just thinking in my mind, okay, there's a lot of chaos. There's so much stress on my parents' mind on how they're going to take care of these 4 kids. If I can be perfect, I can cause less stress on them. I can kind of reduce the stress, right? In a way. That's just what I think happened. And I just kept trying to be perfect, the perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect athlete, the perfect at everything. And it was killing me. It was killing me. I was smiling on the outside. I was excelling at school. #1 student in everything. Just straight A's, nothing else. Piling them A's up. And yet, I was struggling internally. And that left an impact on my life later on. But I'm so grateful that God placed me in that situation so that I can go through that and be here and share this with you, because I know I'm not the only one. I know for a fact that I'm not the only one who is living with perfection. Whether you can admit or you're not there yet to yourself that you are a hidden perfectionist, I see you. That's a journey. But let's talk about how perfectionism is just completely holding us back in life. Imagine perfectionism being a prison, and then everything else that we want to do in life is outside of that prison. And then we always keep thinking about the things outside of the prison, but we keep putting ourselves back into prison. One way that it was blocking me personally is that I put such high expectations on myself that were unattainable. And there was times where I would fail, and I remember it being the worst day of my life. Whenever I could not fit into the perfection mold, it was so devastating. It felt like the world was ending. It was the biggest devastation of my life. And now looking back, I'm like, what? I can't believe I used to stress about such small things, like trying to be perfect. When I'm not. Nobody is. Nobody's supposed to be perfect. And man, I think back to little old Lydia, and I just want to give her a hug, because nobody knew what she was thinking about. Nobody knew what she went through internally. But I'm so grateful that I'm here. After God putting the idea of the podcast on my heart at 2024, and me starting to think about the process and everything up until now, I can confidently say 99% I got rid of perfection. And if something pops up, I call myself out, because I know how freeing, how good it feels to have grace for yourself, to be okay with not doing everything as planned. This is recent, even a couple years back. But I remember if I had an event to go to, like a birthday or a dinner or something, like a date or something like that, I had a plan always of what I'm gonna wear, hair, makeup, how I want my nails to be, shoes, how I want to smell, all the things, right? So I would start getting ready, and if I did not have the time to finish all the tasks that I had for myself, or if something didn't turn out the way that I had it in my mind, I would go to that event and feel terrible. I would feel uncomfortable, and I would feel as if something's wrong with me, seriously, as if I'm not capable of the things that I set out for myself, even though it was this picture of perfection. And I used to be so stressed getting ready for anything. I'm editing this video right now, and I just wanted to add that this is how I felt about everything. Even if I had a day off and I didn't wake up at the time that I planned, or my day didn't go with the activities that I had planned the way that I had it in my mind, or if I was taking a picture and it didn't turn out how I planned, or even if I had an idea to clean out my closet and that didn't go the way that I planned. And now, looking back, I'm so grateful that I became aware of it, because after learning how to be more graceful with myself, I am able to get ready for an event, and if something goes wrong, like I have a picture of the outfit in my mind and I put outfit on, doesn't fit like that, or it doesn't work, or I don't know, hair, makeup doesn't come out the way I wanted it, I am able to be at such peace. I'm able to be at such peace, and it just feels so good to have this ongoing grace for myself, for the things, and allowing imperfection to seep through. Even beyond that, not even just allowing imperfection to seep through, but embodying imperfection and carrying it as it's something that's just part of me and it's natural. I can't even explain it to you how amazing it feels to have this kind of compassion for yourself. Now, yes, I put these high standards of perfectionism on myself, but how you view yourself is how you view others too. And I did notice that in the past, I would also expect perfectionism from other people as well. And that made my relationship with people interesting. I feel like I was faster to cut off people. I was expecting this high level of perfection that nobody really is capable of, not even me. So what are we talking about? But beyond that, I started many businesses. I am a big dreamer, and I had many, many goals. If you don't know anything about me, I was in medical school and I was about to graduate, and I left a year before graduating to start my own business. I moved across the world. When you start a life from scratch, it takes time. It's a journey. But along the way, I started many businesses, and most of them failed, honestly. They were good, but then they failed long term. Then I was forced to go back to just working in restaurants and recuperate and start again and think about ideas and again and again. Up until 2022, when a skincare business idea, actually, which was given to me by God in 2019. And I wrote it down in my journal, and I also didn't act on it because I felt like I was not qualified to do that. And when I finally acted on it in 2022, this was in the moment when I was at rock bottom. Like, I found myself at complete rock bottom. So when you're at rock bottom, there's no way but up. And in that moment, I was telling myself, I'm going to go all in because I have nothing else to do. I'm not going to ask people for help. I'm going to go all in. And I went through my ideas, and I found this skincare idea that I had for creating an organic face oil. I always wanted to create a face oil, and I went for it, and I did it. It was so imperfect because Months before that, I just started a clothing boutique. So I was selling clothes on my website. And then 2 months later, I was like, scratch that. I want to do the skincare business. I want to do the face oil. So I just started creating the face oil. I started testing it out. I started the whole process while I was selling off the last clothes that I had. And I just switched my website to skincare. And it was... It wasn't perfect, let me tell you, but it worked. And that business blew up. And honestly, just growing that business taught me a lot about ways of perfection that I still needed to let go of. Because the more I grew, the more stress I felt, the more pressure. I was trying to be perfect. Perfectionism came back and... It was devastating on my mental health. It was not good. So I took a step back and then I recuperated again. I'm saying this to say is that I always believed that successful people are just somehow perfect and they're doing things perfectly somehow. And this skincare business that took off and was really successful in 6 months, it made me realize that you don't have to be perfect to be able to be successful, because I made many mistakes. And it was all a learning process, and yet it was still successful. So even if I was meant to learn that one lesson and share it with you, I'm so grateful for that journey. Perfectionism kills, steals, and destroys your life, your focus, your mental state, your energy, your ideas, your goals and dreams, and it keeps you stagnant. Which is right where the enemy wants you to be. So yeah, you owe it to yourself to unlearn the ways of perfection, and that's why this podcast is here. Okay, Lydia, so I know I struggle with perfection. How do I start the process of unlearning it? I'm going to tell you right now, any habit that you've been doing for years is going to be a process to unlearn. It's going to take 1, acknowledgement, 2, desire to change, and 3, the constant awareness of how you do things, constant awareness of the thoughts that you have about yourself throughout the day, and the shifting of these thoughts, thinking thoughts that you probably never thought before about yourself or about your life or about the things in your life on purpose, okay? So I started with catching myself in scenarios and just telling myself, it's okay, it's not perfect. And that's okay, that's perfect. It's not perfect, but that's perfect. Because perfect is unreal. Imperfect is natural. That's perfect. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to figure out all of the ways that I am holding on to perfection in everything in life. But I'm grateful for the journey. And I think just continuing to read the Bible and understanding how imperfect we are, how much grace, how much forgiveness and unconditional love God has for us, and the way that He views us, the way that He loves us so perfectly, even though we're imperfect, it just gives me such peace about being imperfect. I'm happy to be imperfect. And I know a thought that crossed my mind always was like, okay, so owning that I'm imperfect and then on the other side, wanting to grow. What's the balance? That's why this podcast is called Not Perfect, Just Growing, because I, for myself, every single day I take steps to get better, to have a cleaner apartment, to be more organized, to arrive on time to places more. Still working on that, but in the peace of being okay not being perfect, it actually gave me a lot of space to grow. And it sounds contradictory, but it helped me grow faster. It cut that middle part of feeling anxious, of not being perfect, and knowing I have to do this and keep my apartment more organized and do my laundry on time and put it away on time and all of the little things. But owning imperfection, it just helped me grow so much more, so much faster, with much peace and just energy and compassion and love for myself that helped me grow. Owning imperfection also helped me fail and then start over again on a new day, fresh day, start again. That helped me grow so much faster in life. I feel good about trying things that are out of my comfort zone because I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid of not being the best. I'm not afraid of being imperfect while I'm practicing in this new thing that's out of my comfort zone. So it really opened up so much in my life, and I wish I could translate that. But hopefully through this podcast, I'm going to be able to do that, and hopefully it helps you do the same. Let me know which part kind of hit for you, and if you had any aha moments. And also, if you know somebody in your environment that kind of looks like they're struggling with perfectionism, they're always trying to have everything perfect, and you know that this would help them, just share it with them. This revelation can transform somebody's life. Seriously. So I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that you were here with me today. If you want to be notified about the next podcast episodes and other things that I'm doing on social media, then you can subscribe to this channel. And I'm on Instagram and TikTok as High Vibe Angel, where I also try to share my imperfect ways, imperfect life, lessons, little lessons, tidbits, and other things. Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for this chapter. Thank you, God, for allowing me to learn this lesson and for pushing me to share this with the world. I feel like it's going to transform so many lives, and that makes me so happy. Nothing else is more fulfilling than helping people change and stop struggling internally and externally. I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.